Well, welcome to the December 2011 sail points for the ODOM class for the San Diego Argonauts. This is the last series of races for the year. We do monthly races and keep track of the results throughout the year, and at the end of the year name a class champion for the ODOM class in this situation. You see the start line. I'm looking right down the start line. Those are 2 marks that pretty much are on average that's a fair starting line, but the wind is a little on the light side, probably 4 knots working up to 6, occasionally filling into 8, pretty much out of the west. And that was 15 seconds, the announcer just said. I'm the yellow boat in the foreground, yellow hull boat. 5 seconds till the start.
3, 2, 1.
There we go, and the bell went off. Now my objective at the start was to have clear air and be moving. I was in a little bit vulnerable position there. If that boat to leeward of me had have closed the door on me, I would have been guilty of barging. But he didn't. I think he thought he'd be over early, as well as myself. So he didn't push that situation, so I feel I was a little bit fortunate there. I had good speed when the gun went off, and we're working up to weather right now. Now, I'm probably at least halfway back in the pack. The boats that are further ahead are a little bit off to leeward of me. They got some better air. There are some pretty good holes out on the pond today, so finding the air is going to be critical besides the usual sailing on the lifts. I have just tacked on port for the first time. Some of the boats are headed over to shore. They're still continuing on starboard. I thought the wind looked a little bit light over there, so I'm working back. And I think I'm just trying to stay in the middle of the pond, middle to the right-hand third of the pond. I like going into the weather mark on starboard, so I try to stay to the right side. I'm looking for lifts. You can see the boat just to the right of my boat in your picture. Looks like he has pretty good air. He's on port tack. He's getting a nice lift. That wind has now got to me. I've got good speed. But you can see I'm kind of back in the pack with everybody here. So at this point, looking for the wind, trying to sail fast, trying to sail on the lifts. Nice smooth water, so that's no problem. Don't have choppy water, don't have a lot of bumps out there. Got reasonably good speed.
I'll go behind you.
I'm looking around on that water. You can see how glassy that water is where I'm at. A little concerned about that. Had some traffic pass me on port. Didn't want to tack in front of him. So this is a little painful for me right now. I mean, my boat's kind of standing up. You're watching the boats behind me that actually are moving pretty good. The wind has shifted to the right a little bit, so starboard tack is the favorite tack. I'm coming into the mark on starboard.
Starboard tack 82. Whoops, I just went to port.
We had a wind shift. Did not change the heading of the boat. However, the sails went from filled on starboard to filled on port, and then it's just shifty wind. So I'm around the mark. I think I'm the second to the last boat.
Not incidental.
This doesn't look too good at this point, but you know what? There's a bunch of holes out there. So again, there's another boat coming in, so I wasn't second to last, but I was pretty much the tail end Charlie here. A lot of boats a lot further out than I am. This is going to be a 1-lap course that was called. So this was the weather mark and the offset mark that we have just rounded, and we're working downwind now. And the wind's a little on the light side, so again, keeping your eyes out, looking where that wind is coming from is absolutely critical. I have a telltale on the top of my boat. I think that's critical. It's a streamer, so I not only can see what direction the wind's coming from, but I also get a reasonably good idea of how strong that wind is, as opposed to the arrows and weather vanes I see folks have, which will always point in some direction, even if there's absolutely no wind. Now at this point, I'm looking on the water. I'm trying to figure out where the wind's coming from, where it's going. My boat, if you've lost it, is all the way on the far side. A little hard to see with this camera, sorry about that, but I'm at the far side of the pond, so I'm in the center of your picture on the far side of the pond. Pretty small boat to start with, so you can tell reading the sails, seeing what's going on with that boat's a little bit of a challenge. I'm doing pretty good down there. The boats to weather of me have kind of gotten some light air. I have stayed low as I work downwind on the pond, and now I have the ability to try to head up just a little bit in this lighter air, which is going to give me some better speed than trying to be running downwind as the other boats are doing. So I'm making some progress on a couple of the boats here. We have a gate that we're headed to, and that means we can take either of the marks that are coming into view on your left. Either take the mark to the left or the mark to the right. We're going to go between the two marks, then round and go back to weather. So you can see those are the two lead boats now that are almost at the gate. I am the boat going to the far gate, the far mark gate, and I am going to be just about even with them right now.
Judge that again.
So I got pretty lucky. I had some wind down on that leeward side, watched what the boat was doing, tried to sail up. When I'm working downwind, I try to sail up when the wind gets light, and then work down as the wind kind of fills in. So I'm always trying to work downwind. Now I've got pretty good air. You can see I have good heel on the boat.
Now what I need is a big header.
And you hear me talking, I'm talking to myself. This narration you're hearing, of course, is after the fact, after I'm watching the video, so I kind of knew what was going on, what was happening. So I got over there, I found some good air. The wind's filling in from the southwest right now, which is that port tack I'm on right now. That means that the wind's coming from my side of the pond. The leaders are now behind me. We can see a starboard tacker just starting to come into view here. Let's see how this works out, because I'm not remembering.
Really don't want to attack, but I got to.
I decided I didn't want to try to go port and starboard close to him, so I tacked. Wind got light about that time, so I was kind of stalled. He kind of stalled. Now we're both kind of moving. He's got a little bit of an advantage on me in that I think if I tack right now, I will not be able to cross him. So I'm very interested right now in making sure my boat's sailing as close to the wind as it possibly can. I've got some good speed. I've got reasonable heel on the boat. He's doing okay, but I think I'm making some gain on him, and I am working to weather a little bit. I think at this point, if I wanted to tack onto port, I'm able to do that. And again, we're going to the finish line right now, so this is the race. Here's the finish line coming into view. I've got good air here. I've been lucky that it filled in, stayed in, tacked over. There we go. So even with that a bad start, bad position at the weather mark, you don't give up. You keep sailing. You look for the opportunities. You look to see where the wind's at on the pond. I was fortunate enough to get lucky and have that wind come in, and I saw it when it came in. I sailed in it, sailed the boat fast, wound up winning the race.
Well, I didn't have any choice. I was so low I couldn't get to your side, which actually I thought looked better. And then the wind just happened to come from the far side.
That's coverage for the first race. Again, I've got a miniature camera velcroed on the top of my hat, and so the picture you see in the video is wherever my head is. My head is pointed, and it's a live mic, so whatever we're saying, whatever's said on the water out there, you're gonna hear. Okay, well that's it for race number one. This took a little bit more time, but people have been telling me, you know what, we wanna try to see the whole race, and I appreciate that can get a little bit boring, but these are going to be one-lap races. We got two more coming up. Don't know that I'll give you a complete coverage of those, but certainly we'll get the weather leg in and the starts and talk about that. So let's sign off here. We're going to pick up the beginning of the second race. Okay, so here's race number 2. The wind is still a little on the fluky side. Still some pretty good holes out there. About 20 seconds until the start. Again, I am the boat on the right-hand side of your screen. Red stripe on the jib. 10 seconds till the start.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
Yeah, I was late. I got a little bit late in there. I had plenty of room to go duck in sooner, but I just didn't. I didn't get in there fast enough. So I'm back about a boat length from where I'd really like to be. I thought I was getting a little bit of bad air, I think, from the boats that were ahead of me on starboard. So I decided to tack over to port, get some clear air. And I'm working out now, of course, on port. Not strong air, but the boat's moving pretty good. I do have air. Water gets a little shallow over here, and of course the ODOM has a fairly deep keel. So tacked over to port. Now I'm moving pretty good. Nice clear air. I get to pick whether I want to be on port or starboard. Got nobody messing with my air. Reasonably good speed. I do have a boat that's coming up on my hip back there on the starboard side. It might give me a little trouble if I wanted to tack right now, but they're not running into a big header, so I'm just holding on to starboard. Again, my strategy, get a good start, be at speed. I was a little bit late, probably a boat length behind where I really should have been when the gun went off. Sail on the lifts of the weather mark. So far I haven't seen anything in big wind shifts or even moderate wind shifts. The wind is up and down a little bit, but actually it's been fairly steady in this leg of the race. You can see reasonable heel on the boat. Again, my boat I'm sailing's got that red stripe on the jib, and that red stripe so I can find it when I'm looking around on the pond. Probably in the middle of the pack or so. I'm on the right hand side of the course, which I like to be. It allows me to go into the weather mark on starboard. Getting into some pretty shallow water here.
Oh, shoot!
Yeah, there you go.
Coming off the beach, John.
I'm used to sailing Soling 50s in Santa Barbara as we go right up to the shoreline, and I'm still getting adjusted to the ODOM. So I put it on the beach, and you're allowed, of course, to push it off. Kind of an amateur mistake, but that's what happened. That's what I did.
I don't know, Jim.
Hopefully, lesson learned. Now, this was an interesting situation. That was a port and starboard situation that just happened right there. I'm on the windward side of the port tack boat. Now, the starboard and the port tack boat should be talking to each other about rules infraction, I believe. But I didn't do anything wrong. So
I saw the port starboard. I didn't hear any numbers.
I think I am okay because I didn't do anything wrong. The leeward boat, he could have hailed for room to tack. He did not. And so I think for me, I'm fine in that one. I think that was port and starboard though, and I would think somebody would be doing some hailing and somebody would do a 360. So I got around the mark in okay shape. We've kind of spread out. You can see that the wind, the wind conditions have caused the boats to spread out a fair amount. This is just the weather leg. And I'm not going to stay with all this through the whole race. This gets a little bit painful. I think the results for myself at least wound up in about the same place that I'm sitting right now. I think I wound up about 4th in this race. So nothing really exciting happened. Everybody's just clawing their way downwind in some fairly light air and working back to weather, but there wasn't anything to really of note, really anything to mention. I don't believe. So let's just leave it at this, and we'll move on to race number 3. Okay, well here's the 3rd race of our
30 seconds.
ODOM races for today. 30 seconds until the start. Wind's filled in just a touch. You can see some good ripples on the water. Still out of the west. That line is still a fair starting line. I like being close to my boat, so I tend to start at this near end. 15 seconds till the start. I'm coming in on port at this point. I'm going to jibe in ahead of these folks. 5 seconds till the start. I'm trying to get my boat up to speed. There we go. The bell went off. I was on the line that time. I was kind of chiding myself for not having a better start in the last race. So I'm off to a good start here. Got a boat that's down below me. I think he and I are going to be duking it out here. I have vector sails, and that boat that's just ahead of me. So my boat is would look like the second place boat, red stripe on the jib. We both have vector sails, so we'd expect some reasonably similar
those vector sails, they're just unbelievable.
But I am sailing a little bit faster than he is, and I think maybe just a touch higher. Was able to sail over the top of him. So I now have the luxury of being able to tack onto port if I need to, if I want to, if I get headed over there. But I'm actually getting lifted a little bit. I'm watching the boats that are back behind me. They're doing okay.
Now is when we wait for the
Most
ship.
Most of them attacked over to port.
Show me header. Show me the header.
Yeah, I'm calling for a header. That's what I want. I want to tack on a header, but you just get over some shallow water, especially after going aground on this side in that last race. Want to be a little careful. So I bailed out. I'm on port. Good heel on the boat.
Now you're paying the price.
So I've got those sails probably cranked in all the way. Working my way across. I got my eyes glued on the telltales, sailing fast. I've got good position on the fleet.
There we go.
The wind has shifted to the right a little bit, so starboard tack is lifted. Remember when we went off on the start line, we were sailing much lower, and that lift's gone away a little bit on starboard.
You don't think?
But there's good air. I'm moving pretty good. I got good heel on the boat. Coming in the mark on port, but nobody's around me. I can get away with that. Tacking at the weather mark. And first around the weather mark, and I'm going to reach off to the offset mark, so I'm in pretty good shape over there. The rest of the boats are filling in. So I'm in very good shape at the weather mark, and I am because I was at the line with speed, clear air. I was able to sail in clear air, so I had good boat speed. Kept an eye out for the lifts. Didn't see anything big there. Just pretty much just stayed on starboard across the pond. Got over to what I thought was starting to be some shallow water. Tacked over onto port. I had good enough boat speed, put me in good position. Now we're working downwind, and I've got a couple of boat length lead over the boats behind me, so I'm pretty happy with that. This is a one-lap race, so the first weather leg, it's everything in a one-lap race. That's what we got going. So I seem to be working away from the boats behind me. I'm pretty happy about that. I'm trying to sail low. Tough to see the boat at this point, but I'm wing and wing. In the puffs, I'm trying to sail down, and when it gets a little bit light, I'm trying to head up a little bit. Keep that jib, which is again wing and wing. Keep that jib full. If it starts to collapse a little bit, I'll head up to keep the wind flowing on it. I think that's the fastest way to sail the ODOM. So that's going to do it for the ODOM races for today. We actually had 6 races because we got rained out last month in November, but my camera didn't work, or I didn't press the right button or something, so I don't have the other 3 races that are going on. But the conditions were similar to this, so it gave you a flavor for what's going on. The rest of this is pretty much a drag race. We're going to go down the leeward marks and finish up. So thanks for watching. Hope you picked up a few tips. The ODOM Nationals, the NCR, will be here at this pond in Mission Bay next year in August, I believe it is, although we don't have the exact date yet. So you're getting to see a little insight into what goes on at our pond, what the conditions are like, and maybe that'll help you out if you come and join the racing. So take care, enjoy. We'll see you next month.